Sometimes you don't need to give up. You need to reset. Sometimes you don't need a new life. You need a new direction. Think about that. Maybe you've been working hard but getting nowhere. Maybe you've lost your motivation. Maybe you've made mistakes and you keep thinking about them. Maybe you started with excitement, but somewhere along the way, you lost your focus. That doesn't mean your journey is over. It means it may be time to pause, look at your life, look at your choices, look at your habits, and ask yourself, is this still taking me where I want to go? Because sometimes the greatest progress begins with a reset. Reset your mind. Reset your priorities. Reset your routine. Then restart. Start again with more wisdom. Start again with more experience. Start again without carrying every mistake into your future. And then refocus. Because scattered attention creates scattered results. You cannot chase everything and build something meaningful. You must decide what matters most. Then give it your time, your energy, and your discipline. Remember, a bad month doesn't have to become a bad year. A mistake doesn't have to become your identity. A setback doesn't have to become your destination. You can begin again today. Not tomorrow, today. So take a breath. Clear your mind. Let go of what you cannot change. Learn from what happened and prepare yourself for what comes next. Because sometimes the next chapter of your life doesn't require a completely new person. It requires a refocused version of you. Reset, restart, refocus, and move forward with purpose. Sometimes the first thing you need to change is not your job, not your circumstances, and not the people around you. It is your mind. Because you can change your environment. But if you carry the same thinking, you may create the same results. Think about that. Maybe you've had a difficult season. Maybe things didn't go according to plan. Maybe you made decisions you wish you could change. Maybe you trusted the wrong people. Maybe you wasted time. Maybe you started something and didn't finish. It happens. But here's the danger. You can spend so much time thinking about what went wrong that you stop building. What could go right? Your past deserves reflection, but it doesn't deserve control over your future. There is a difference. Learn from yesterday, but don't live there. Now ask yourself, what am I still carrying that I need to let go of? Maybe it's regret. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's an old belief that says you're not capable. Maybe it's a habit that no longer belongs in the life you're trying to build. You cannot carry everything and still move forward freely. Sometimes you have to put something down. Reset your thinking. Start with your language. Stop telling yourself, I always fail. I never get opportunities. I'm too far behind. I can't change. Those statements become mental boundaries. Replace them with better questions. What can I learn? What can I change? What can I do differently? What is still possible? Notice the difference. One mindset searches for limitations. The other searches for possibilities. And your questions direct your attention. Your attention directs your actions. And your actions shape your results. Now understand this. A reset doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means accepting reality without allowing reality to destroy your hope. Maybe you are behind. Fine. Admit it, then move. Maybe you made mistakes. Fine. Learn from them, then move. Maybe you've wasted time. You cannot recover yesterday, but you can stop wasting today. That is where your power begins. Now look at your daily environment. What are you allowing into your mind? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Who are you spending time with? What conversations are you repeatedly having? Because your mind is being influenced every single day. If you constantly consume negativity, Don't be surprised when your thinking becomes negative. If you constantly compare yourself, don't be surprised when you feel behind. If you constantly consume distractions, don't be surprised when your focus disappears. Protect your mind. Not because you need to hide from reality, but because your attention is one of your greatest resources. Now, give yourself permission to begin again. You don't need permission from your past. You don't need approval from people who don't understand your future. You need a decision. A clear decision that says, I'm not going to remain where I no longer belong. Then make that decision. Follow it through action. Clean your environment. Write down your priorities. Remove unnecessary distractions. Return to your goals. Create a better routine. Start with one disciplined action, then another. Because a reset is not just a thought. It becomes real when your behavior changes. Remember, you are not your worst mistake. You are not your worst day. You are not your past failure. You are the person who can learn from all of it. So don't spend another year punishing yourself for something that happened yesterday. Take the lesson. Leave the burden. Keep moving. Sometimes the greatest breakthrough doesn't come from doing more. It comes from stopping what is no longer helping you. Reset your mind. Release what is holding you back. Clear the noise. Choose a better direction. Because when your thinking changes, your possibilities begin to change. And sometimes the fresh start you've been waiting for begins with one simple decision. I am ready to think differently and move forward. Sometimes you have to begin again. Not because you failed, but because you learned. There is a difference. Starting over can feel painful. You look at the time you spent, the effort you gave, the plans that didn't work, and you wonder, was all of that for nothing? No, it wasn't. Every experience gave you something. A lesson, a warning, a skill, a clear understanding of what you don't want. And sometimes knowing what doesn't work is exactly what you need to discover what will. So don't be afraid to restart. A restart is not weakness. It is courage. It means you're willing to admit that something needs to change and brave enough to do something about it. Now think about how many people stay in situations they know aren't working. They stay in the wrong routine. They stay in the wrong habits. They stay attached to an old version of themselves. Why? Because starting again feels uncomfortable, but staying stuck has a cost too. You pay with time. You pay with energy. You pay with opportunities. And time doesn't come back. So don't let fear make your decisions. Fear will tell you, what if it doesn't work? Ask a better question. What if it does? What if this time you approach it differently? What if you use everything you've learned? What if you stop repeating the mistakes that held you back? That is the advantage of starting again. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. Think about that. The first attempt taught you something. The second attempt can be wiser. The third can be stronger. You now understand what to avoid. You know where you struggled. You know what requires more discipline. You know what distractions can pull you away. Use that knowledge. Don't waste your experience. Turn it into wisdom. Now, listen carefully. You don't need to restart your entire life in one day. Start with one area. Maybe your health. Maybe your finances. Maybe your work. Maybe your relationships. Maybe your personal growth. Choose one. Then take one step. Clean up your routine. Set a clear goal. Remove one bad habit. Build one good habit. Do something that proves to yourself that you're moving again. Because momentum doesn't appear before action. Momentum comes because of action. You take one step, then another, and suddenly you are moving again. Now don't wait until you feel confident. Confidence often comes after you begin. You don't need to know exactly how everything will work out. You need enough courage to take the next step. The road becomes clearer as you walk. Now think about failure differently. Failure doesn't mean you are incapable. Sometimes it means your approach needs adjustment. Change the strategy. Improve the skill. Ask for guidance. Work harder. Work smarter. Try again. But don't keep repeating the same mistake and calling it persistence. Persistence means continuing toward the goal while being willing to change the method. That is intelligent persistence. Now remember, you are allowed to become a different person. The person you were 5 years ago doesn't have to make today's decisions. You can change your priorities. You can change your habits. You can change your direction. You can change your standards. You can begin again with everything you've learned. So if life has knocked you down, stand up. If you lost your way, find the direction again. If you stopped, start moving. Don't waste another year wishing you had started sooner. Start now. Because the past may explain where you are, but it does not have to decide where you go next. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting with experience, with lessons, with wisdom, and with another opportunity. So restart without fear. Take what you've learned. Leave behind what no longer serves you. And begin again. Not as the person you were, but as the person you are becoming. Sometimes the problem isn't that you don't work hard. The problem is you're working hard on too many things. Your attention is scattered. Your energy is divided. Your mind is constantly moving, but your life isn't moving in a clear direction. You need to refocus, because you cannot give your best energy to everything. Something must become more important than everything else. Now ask yourself, what actually matters to me? Not what looks impressive. Not what everyone else is doing. Not what gets the most attention. What truly matters? Your health, your family, your financial future, your career, your personal growth, your peace, your purpose, your goals. You need to know. Because if you don't decide what matters, something else will decide for you. Your phone will decide. Social media will decide. Other people's opinions will decide. Distractions will decide. And suddenly you have spent an entire day being busy, but not being productive. There is a difference. Being busy means doing many things. Being productive means doing the right things. So simplify. Look at your life and identify the few things that deserve your greatest attention. Then protect them. If your health matters, make time for it. If your family matters, be present with them. If your future matters, work on it. If your goal matters, schedule it. Don't just say, "This is important to me." Show it with your calendar. Show it with your choices. Because your priorities are revealed by your actions. Now think about distractions. Distraction doesn't always look dangerous. Sometimes it looks harmless. 5 minutes turns into an hour. One video turns into 20. One unnecessary task pushes an important task into tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes another tomorrow. That's how focus disappears, not all at once. Little by little. So learn to say no. No to unnecessary commitments. No to constant notifications. No to meaningless arguments. No to endless scrolling. No to activities that consume your attention without improving your life. Every time you say no to a distraction, you are saying yes to your future. Now remember, focus doesn't mean you never rest. Rest is important. But rest should restore you, not consume you. There is a difference between recovering your energy and escaping your responsibilities. Learn the difference. Now choose your priorities. Maybe you have 10 goals. You don't have to abandon them, but you don't have to chase all 10 at the same time. Choose one major direction. Give it attention. Make progress. Then build from there, because scattered effort creates scattered results. Focused effort creates momentum. Now think about your day. Before you begin, ask yourself, what is the one thing that would make today meaningful? Then do it. Don't spend your best energy on things that don't matter. Don't give your morning to distractions and your evening to your dreams. Give your important work your best attention. Your future deserves that. Now understand, refocusing is not always about adding something new. Sometimes it means removing something. Remove the habit that wastes your time. Remove the commitment that no longer fits your purpose. Remove the thought that keeps you doubting yourself. Remove the distraction that keeps stealing your attention. Create space. Then use that space for what matters. Because your life becomes clearer when your priorities become clearer. So pause. Look at your direction. Look at your habits. Look at your time. And ask yourself, am I spending my life on the things I say are important? If the answer is no, don't feel guilty. Refocus. Change the schedule, change the habits, change the direction. Start today. Because you don't need more hours. You need better focus with the hours you already have. Your attention is valuable. Your energy is limited. Your time is passing. Use them wisely. Choose what matters. Give it your best. And let everything else take its proper place. Because when you refocus, you stop living by accident and start living with intention. There is something you need to understand about life. You will get off track. You will lose focus. You will make mistakes. You will have difficult seasons. That is not failure. That is life. The real question is, what will you do when it happens? Will you stay down? Will you keep repeating the same mistakes? Or will you learn to reset, restart, and refocus? Because these three decisions can become powerful tools for personal growth. A reset says, something isn't working. Let me step back and look honestly. A restart says, I'm ready to begin again. And refocusing says, I know what matters now. I'm going to give it my attention. Think about how powerful that is. You don't have to wait for January. You don't need a new year. You don't need a Monday. You don't need permission to begin again. You can reset on a Tuesday morning. You can restart in the middle of the month. You can refocus right now. The moment you realize you are moving in the wrong direction is the moment you can change direction. Don't underestimate that. Many people lose years because they know something is wrong. But they keep waiting for the perfect time to change. There is no perfect time. There is only the decision to begin. Now look at your habits. Maybe you planned to exercise, but you stopped. Reset. Maybe you wanted to save money, but you lost discipline. Reset. Maybe you started learning, but became distracted. Reset. Maybe you had a goal and slowly abandoned it. Reset. Don't turn one mistake into an identity. You missed one day. Fine. Return tomorrow. You wasted 1 week. Fine. Start again today. You made a poor decision. Learn from it. Then make a better one. The danger isn't falling off track. The danger is deciding to stay off track. Now understand something. Resetting requires honesty. You have to look at yourself without excuses. Ask, what am I doing that is keeping me stuck? Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's distraction. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's the wrong environment. Maybe it's poor planning. Maybe it's simply a lack of discipline. Whatever it is, name it. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge. Then restart with a plan. Don't just say, I'll do better. Decide what better means. Wake up at a specific time. Complete a specific task. Spend less. Save more. Read every day. Exercise consistently. Work on your most important goal. Make your restart practical. Then comes refocusing. Because starting again without direction can lead you back to the same place. Know what matters. Choose your priorities. Remove unnecessary distractions. Give your attention to the things that build your future. Now make this process a normal part of your life. Don't see a reset as something embarrassing. See it as maintenance. A car needs maintenance. A business needs adjustment. A plan needs review. And your life needs reflection too. Every so often, pause. Look at where you are. Look at where you're going. Ask yourself, is this still the direction I want? If yes, continue. If no, adjust. That is wisdom. You don't need to wait until everything falls apart before making changes. Small corrections can prevent major problems, so reset often. Restart when necessary. Refocus when distracted, and keep moving. Your life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. It needs direction. It needs discipline. It needs awareness. And sometimes it needs a fresh beginning. So don't fear the reset. Don't be ashamed of starting again. Don't apologize for changing direction when you discover a better one. Your past may have shaped you, but your next decision can still change you. Reset your mind. Restart your effort. Refocus your attention. Then move forward with everything you've learned. Because starting over doesn't mean going backward. Sometimes it means finally moving in the right direction. Now, think about this. You can reset your mind. You can restart your journey. You can refocus your attention. But if your daily routine remains the same, your results may remain the same too. That is why after you reset, you need to rebuild. You need a routine that supports the person you are trying to become. Because motivation can start you, but discipline keeps you moving. And discipline becomes stronger when it has structure. So begin simply. Look at your day. What happens from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep? Where does your time go? Where does your attention go? What habits are helping you? What habits are holding you back? Be honest. Because you cannot rebuild a life you refuse to examine. Maybe your mornings begin with your phone. You wake up and immediately consume other people's lives. Before you know it, 30 minutes are gone. Reset. Put the phone away. Give yourself a few quiet minutes. Think, plan, read, move. Decide what matters before the world decides for you. Then restart. Don't try to create a perfect routine overnight. Choose a few important actions. Wake up consistently. Make your bed. Exercise. Read. Plan your priorities. Do your most important work. Then repeat. Simple routines repeated consistently can create powerful results. Now refocus every day. Ask yourself, what is the most important thing I need to accomplish today? Choose it. Then protect time for it. Don't let small distractions steal the hours you need for meaningful work. Your routine should not be a prison. It should be a structure that gives you freedom. When you know what you're doing, you spend less energy deciding what to do and more energy actually doing it. Now remember, you will have bad days. You will miss a workout. You will waste an afternoon. You will lose focus. Don't turn one bad day into a bad week. Reset. Restart. Refocus. Return to your routine at the next opportunity. That is discipline, not perfection. Consistency. Now make your routine support your priorities. If your goal is health, schedule movement. If your goal is learning, schedule reading or practice. If your goal is financial growth, schedule time to review your money and your plans. If your goal is personal growth, schedule time to reflect and improve. Don't leave important things to chance. Put them into your life. Now think about your evenings too. Before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I do well today? What could I improve tomorrow? What is the most important thing I need to focus on next? This simple reflection can keep you aligned. You don't need to judge yourself. You need to learn from yourself. Then tomorrow, begin. That is the power of resetting, restarting, and refocusing. Reset what isn't working. Restart what you abandoned. Refocus on what matters. Then repeat, day after day, week after week, month after month. Eventually, your routine becomes your lifestyle. Your lifestyle becomes your character. And your character shapes your future. So don't wait for motivation to return. Build a routine that makes action easier. Create structure. Protect your time. Keep your commitments. And when you fall off track, don't quit. Reset. Restart. Refocus. Then take the next step. Because your life can change. Not because you suddenly become perfect, but because you become consistent at returning to the path that matters most. Remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. Sometimes you simply need to reset, then restart, then refocus. Let go of what is holding you back. Return to what matters. Rebuild your discipline. Take one step, then another, because one decision can change your direction. And one disciplined day can become the beginning of a completely different life. Reset your mind, restart your journey, refocus your life, and keep moving forward.